Hello and welcome to Pulse episode 63, Diablo News. There's a lot of incredibly interesting stuff to look at today. Could Diablo 3 cannibalize WoW before Titan even gets a chance? Is Diablo 3 still coming to consoles? More Facebook like updates with extra drama. Some more, as always, amazing Christina Estrada news, the man behind the Cain, and much more great stuff. Let's get started. In another interview with Gamasutra, Pearce was asked whether their unannounced MMO, Titan, would cannibalize World of Warcraft players. Frank responded by saying the following: "It's hard to say. I think an even shorter term concern is whether or not we might see a cannibalization of WoW players from Diablo 3 when we launch it, because it's a similar type of experience. Not exactly similar, but it's that RPG feel. For us, I think it's really important that we recognize that somewhere, sometime, it's likely that someone is going to cannibalize World of Warcraft players. So it's better that we cannibalize them ourselves than let someone else do that. Because if we cannibalize them ourselves, they're still a Blizzard customer. Whether it's a Blizzard game or another great MMO, I think there's plenty of space in the market for great MMOs to share customers." I absolutely loved the excessive use of the word cannibalize. Anyway, there are indeed lots of threats looming on the horizon for World of Warcraft, and I sure hope Diablo 3 is actually the biggest worry. Rift, the Old Republic, Guild Wars 2, and many others claiming to be game changers are set to already have hit the gaming scene. Blizzard don't seem worried though, not in the least. The interview had a lot more talk in it, mostly concerning Blizzard's new MMO and how they're going about creating it, so sadly, there was no really juicy Diablo news in there. It remains to be seen whether Diablo will actually poach a large bunch of World of Warcraft's players, or whether it'll just keep them busy while they aren't needed for raids or rated battlegrounds. Either way, I just hope we get a release date for our baby sometime soon. Read the full article over at Gamasutra, and as most of their stuff usually is, it is in fact worth a look. Yet more Diablo 3 on console news. Just last week, the guys over at MTV Multiplayer had the chance to sit down with Mike Morhaime and Pearce, two of the three co-founders of Blizzard Entertainment, for a quick talk. The interview was actually pegged to the company's 20-year anniversary, so they ran through the history of Blizzard from the early days at Silicon and Synapse to their apparent shrouded future. But what is interesting to take away from this for us Diablo fans was the little bit of talk regarding Diablo 3 on consoles. When asked whether we would see Diablo 3 on consoles at launch or sometime after, Morhaime replied by saying the following: "We've had some posts up on our website for a little while now, looking for console developers to help us do an exploratory mission to determine whether or not a Diablo game on consoles would make sense. At this stage, that's all it is. We're just exploring the option, the opportunity." Sadly for all the console users out there, that was all they said. And it sounds a lot less convincing than the last time we heard about it. So sadly, for those waiting for the console version of the game, don't start holding your breath just yet. You can watch the related snippet of the interview over at MTV Multiplayer for more. Yet more Facebook like updates are upon us, and these with some extra drama. Yes indeed. We are another 25,000, or actually now 50,000 likes closer to that 1 million mark. And yes, I will tell you more about that drama in just a second. First, let's look at our rewards. First up, we have been treated with a Victor Lee sketch that served as concept art for the Wizard's Hydra skill. I gotta say, those dragon heads are looking pretty badass. If you're interested in more Hydra goodness, you can check the posts linked below for a couple of screenshots of the Hydra skill in-game and in action. We've also been rewarded with a new screenshot. This one shows what seems to be a male wizard in pretty basic armor, no doubt still early in the game, blasting away at some activated vessels with an arcane orb. I can't really guess for myself what that glyph-like pattern on the floor is, but the guys over at Diablo Inc. Gamers do have a couple of theories. You can check them out below too. In the next update, we received a rather graphic concept drawing of the Tomb Viper. While we have seen this picture before, this is in fact a very, very high resolution version of the art piece we saw a photo of early in 2010. The second reward from this update was a screenshot from the arena. The Blue Witch Doctor has failed to keep the Red Barbarian at a distance, and with no pets and unknown escape skills, he may yet pay the price. Lots of action, and great to see Blizzard releasing a bit of everything. Sure, nothing is really new from this update, but still, quite entertaining. So, with those two out of the way, back to the drama. It seems like the Diablo Facebook page has apparently either been like-jacked, or thousands of extra Diablo fans have just discovered Facebook and how to like fan pages for the first time. Here's what's going on. The Diablo Facebook page has been running their new art for every 25,000 likes promotion since early February. And during that time, the page has seen about 25,000 new likes per week. It has been pretty steady. We received our new updates on February the 9th, the 15th, the 22nd, March the 3rd, March the 11th, and the latest one on Thursday, March the 17th. These have been pretty well spaced intervals, as I mentioned. Now, the next predicted update on the 700k mark was set to hit sometime next week, maybe Wednesday or even Thursday. Instead, as Diablo Inc. Gamers points out, as of Sunday evening there were a whopping 705,000 likes. And as of right now there are 713,000. That means that those numbers are increasing way faster than they have been for quite some time. I sure hope it was my first guess. Maybe some big Facebook fan page decided to advertise a little for Diablo. It is possible. But on the flip side, some suspect the aforementioned like-jacking. What is like-jacking? Well, it's sort of like a Facebook virus that can be used to trick people to like your page without knowing it. Sure, there's more to it than that, but I won't bother talking about it here, and you can obviously read about it below. The real question, and the one we're all worrying about, is what does Blizzard do about this, if it is in fact a problem and does continue at this rate? It will be interesting to see, and please, do keep checking back here for more on it in the coming days. There's been no official comment from Blizzard, and seeing that they did release 2 batches of art while under this accelerated growth, I guess it's not bothering them one bit. Why would it? At this rate, they'll hit the next 25k milestone late Tuesday or early Wednesday, so I definitely won't complain. You can see both those new updates and read about this apparent like-jacking below. In a few more Diablo related art updates, we take a look at the latest fan art watch from Diablo Inc. Gamers and a pretty amazing Tristram Cathedral diorama. Fan art watch number 82 gives us a good look at 5 pieces from the Diablo 1 and 2 gallery featuring Baal, Lord of Destruction. The creations are pretty varied, as they usually tend to be. I'll start it off this time with what is probably my favorite of the lot. A stylized piece showing Baal and his glowing soulstone as Tyrael leaps in for the attack from behind. It's always great seeing all the fans' different renditions of a demon as well known as Baal. You can see all these in full size below, and as I always say, if you're a fan of fan art, be sure to head on over to the Diablo Inc. Gamers forums to see tons more. Now, about that diorama. An artist named Metal Chaos has combined 2 of his apparent greatest loves, Diablo and diorama making, to produce an amazing piece of the Tristram Cathedral. And I really do mean amazing. According to his blog, he spent over 300 hours on the piece and spent nearly $200 on plastic, wood, and foam for the diorama. Aside from the cathedral itself, 6 trees, a graveyard, a crypt, various grasses, turf, and dead leaves decorate the ground around this absolutely stunning piece. The dimensions: 61 by 91 centimeters and 61 centimeters high. There are many more images to be seen on the creator's blog, both of the finished product and of the work in progress. This will no doubt light some fierce nostalgic fires in the hearts of Diablo 1 players out there. Definitely worth checking out. Thanks to F. Mulder and Diablo Inc. Gamers for bringing this great find to our attention. About a week ago, as I mentioned on my previous World of Warcraft Pulse episode, Bashiok made a pretty long post on the World of Warcraft forums explaining why neither Ghostcrawler nor any of the other Blizzard game developers would be posting on the forums anymore. Apparently, and quite understandably, things have changed a great deal when compared to the old days, when the developers, especially the guys from Blizzard North, were willing to directly interact with both fans online and at game conventions. So this entire topic has once again been resurrected, expanded on, dissected, and picked apart by Flux over at Diablo Inc. Gamers. There's a lot more to it than I can say here in 10 or even 15 minutes. At the end of the day though, all we have to remember is that even if the devs don't post on the forums themselves, it does not mean that they don't know what's going on there and what's being said there. That's what the community managers are for, and that applies for all Blizzard's various game forums and the posters in them. If any of you care to learn more about why the devs are so scarce, how much PR is involved with the decisions they are making, and what Bashiok has to say about the lot of it, check the links below. Diablo fans have been given the opportunity, nay, privilege, to interview Michael Goh, the man who most of us know as the voice of Deckard Cain. Diablo fans tells us that this interview is first and foremost an insight into the man behind Deckard Cain and his approach to playing Cain. The interview covers absolutely all of it: how he first got into voice acting, why he loves it as much as he does, a bit of a talk about all the games, movies, series and promotional voice acting he has done over the years, and, well, most importantly, there's lots and lots of talk about good old Deckard Cain. An interesting answer from the interview, to me at least, was the following. He was asked about how Cain's age affected the process of playing the character. He had the following to say: "That was another thing they actually wanted too. He has aged, so he's in a different place. I'm not really at liberty to give much away, but perhaps he sounds like a slightly older version of himself." He also went on to talk about Cain's adopted daughter and how that changed things too. It is great to hear about all the effort, all the work that goes into even the tiniest part of the game. This is the kind of thing that is often not appreciated as much as it should be by the players of the game. The interview was indeed a great and pretty damn long read, which I won't complain about, and I'm glad Diablo fans managed to get a hold of this man. You can read the full thing below and now listen to an audio version of the interview over at Force D3 Strategy. In some PAX East news, which for Diablo fans there hasn't really been very much of, we have Christina Estrada. Yes, my very favorite cosplayer and Diablo enthusiast extraordinaire. For those that didn't know, Cristina won the BlizzCon 2010 costume contest with the very same female monk outfit she was sporting at PAX East. She was at the event to help promote the latest and greatest World of Warcraft trading cards from Cryptozoic, and during the quick interview she talks about enduring the judges at last year's BlizzCon, her other costume efforts, and everything she's working on for this year's show. Sure to be a hit, and this video is definitely worth a watch as we never actually got to hear her speak during BlizzCon. Finally, we have a voice to attach to the pretty face. Check it out right here on YouTube. In one small PAX East extra, Diablo creator and Blizzard North founder David Brevik hosted a panel at PAX East on the changes in the video game industry since Diablo. This panel was titled "To Hell and Back Again", and sadly there's not much in the line of coverage for it online, but we have been treated with a few small snippets of what went down. According to the Hardcore Casual blog, one very interesting point that was made was that during the making of the original Diablo, if David wanted to add a treasure chest mechanic to the game, it would take about 3 hours total from idea to in-game. That same idea would take 2 weeks or so for Hellgate London, and would involve a dozen people jumping in at various points and potentially falling behind on whatever else they were doing. What David and his team were able to get away with and making Diablo great ended up crippling Hellgate. David then wrapped things up by saying that he believes that PC space is going to return to a similar state it was in during the early to mid-90s, where new ideas from the small guys were rampant and lots of cool stuff was being released. I guess it does hold some truth. I mean, with all the amazing indie titles coming out, or even, looking lower down, the guys making the amazing maps and mods for games like StarCraft 2 in its editor. Nothing needs to be overly complex for it to work well and efficiently, and the amount of money invested doesn't guarantee a hit. There needs to be a good idea first. So if you want to read more and are interested in everything that went down during this most interesting of panels at PAX East, check the links below and enjoy. The guys and girls from over at the Diablo III database have released the list of winners for their World of Warcraft pet giveaway. They just thanked everyone for the overwhelming amount of entries and apologized for the slight delay in getting the winners' names out there. But the more important and definitely more interesting part, the winners. Here are the runners-up, who will each receive all 5 of the World of Warcraft digital pets. And the grand prize winner, who will also receive the super rare Tyrael pet, is Chloe G. Congratulations. They warn us that the winners will be contacted via email and tell us to please keep checking back at their site and look forward to more exciting contests from them in the future as we draw closer to BlizzCon. I know I most definitely will. For all those Diablo 2 fans out there, which I'm sure all of you are, Bashiok has just released the results from the recent poll on ladder length for Diablo 2 and its latest ladder season. Out of the 1,503 total votes that were cast, 70% of them voted for a 6-month total length, and it seems like next week marks 6 months. That in mind, Blizzard has chosen to listen to the majority of the Diablo 2 player base and follow a 6-month reset schedule. Yes indeed, Diablo 2 Ladder Season 8 will begin in about a week's time. Blizzard anticipate all the Diablo 2 realms to be down for approximately 6 hours during the reset. More specific information on realm availability on the day of the reset will be posted in the Battle.net status forum. When the ladder is reset, all existing ladder characters will be converted to non-ladder. All characters and items being converted to non-ladder will remain intact, but once converted, these characters will no longer have access to ladder content, such as creating ladder-only rune words. So if you're one of the thousands waiting for Season 8, you can check the official announcement and see the full stats from that poll below. Let's head on over to the Diablo III Smalls. In this week's Smalls, you can check out Forum Watch number 65 over at Diablo Inc. Gamers, Corpses, Consoles, and the End of Cain. The Dark Library number 34 is up, also over at Diablo Inc. Gamers. Then over at Diablo Fans, you can check a poll on rune swapping restrictions and the wiki bi-weekly, issue number 8. Now for a few questions and answers from the Diablo Twitter or Battle.net forums. As usual, if you want to see who provided the questions and the answers, you can see the full list below. Will there be an option to turn on item names on the HUD, so we don't have to run around holding Alt anymore? We do have a couple of options. Default is that names show immediately upon drop, fade away, and you can show them again using Alt. The other option is the classic Diablo 2 style. We don't have an always on option. Sounds messy, but could be interesting. Any info on how the trade system will work? Will there be a complete system where we won't rely on forums or set up trade games? Not yet, but it's something we're deeply involved in developing. Will there be some kind of spectator mode for PvP arenas? It's a wishlist item, same as replays. If you want a bit of news or insight into the spectator or observer mode in PvP arenas, you can check out Force's latest Purgatory episode. There's a nice long talk about it in there. What's the toughest mix of monster attributes, in your opinion? It really varies per class and build. If all you have is melee skills, anything that can keep its distance is brutal. How's the Barbarian's revenge skill nowadays? It was annoying that you had to watch your hotbar for when it was available. That was annoying. It has a chance to proc automatically now when the Barbarian is hit. You want to avoid dodge with a revenge build, so I assume it's a trait now. I would have been fine with an active skill if there was some clear indication that it was available. No, it's a skill. It's a proc, which isn't quite the same as a passive. Weather in Diablo 3. Will we see changes in weather in D3 like in D2? Rain, snow, hail, or anything like this? We have awesome weather effects. They're set to specific areas, so it'll rain in some places but not others. Makes sense, right? Do characters move in all directions or just 16 directions? Right, characters aren't rendered in one of 8 directions anymore, so there's no set character directions like in Diablo 2. Sadly, that is all I have for you for Pulse episode 63. I hope you all enjoyed this latest batch of Diablo news. Keep checking back here soon for more, and remember, like the video, favorite it, share it with your friends, leave a comment and subscribe. Most importantly though, happy Diablo 2 Ladder Season 8.